opportunity to go out and see a show that I've seen before and revisit it. I went to go see Avenue Q. I went to go see Avenue Q and was blown away by Avenue Q this time in 2019 as much as I was in 2003 when I saw it for the first time. And so I'm super excited to be here to moderate this panel. It's my first panel moderation. Normally I'm just jumping around telling silly gay jokes, but now we're going to get serious, people. It's getting serious. I'm in panel mode. We're going to talk today with some of the amazing creatives and cast members that have been part of the amazing legacy that has been Avenue Q as they're celebrating 15 years of Avenue Q, which is just an enormous feat for any show. It's really exciting. Also, please note that this entire panel is being recorded as part, and will be released as part of my podcast, The Broadway Cast, which is coming back. So make sure you check for that on all of our social media at The Broadway Cast. And of course, if you want to listen to any older episodes, you can do that on iTunes at The Broadway Cast. So Avenue Q opened on Broadway in 2003. Moved to Off-Broadway in 2009, has played the West End, has played Las Vegas all over the world, and it is as hip and fresh and relevant as it has ever been. And we've got some people who are going to tell you all about that. So, let's meet some of the creative forces and the amazing talent behind Avenue Q. Let's start, we might as well start with Mr. Bobby Lopez. Whoa! Rick Lyons is here. You. Yeah, there he is. Huh? I put an S on it? Oh, my apologies. My apologies to the pride. To the Lion Pride. Carmen Ruby Floyd is here. Erin Quill is with us. You guys can sit wherever you feel happiest. We're very easy breezy. Howie Michael Smith is here with us today. Let's say hello to our good pal Ann Harada. And you'll note that there's a seat left. I think we should give that to Miss Stephanie DeBrusa. You get to climb. Thank you guys all so much for being here, and congratulations on the legacy of Avenue Q. 15 years is an accomplishment that very few theatrical anythings get to achieve. It's almost a miracle in our business, isn't it? So congratulations on that. And as I mentioned, I saw the show the other night, and it's really in terrific shape. And I was just blown away by how hard I laughed, and that I even, as vulgar as I can be and like to be, gasped and put my hand to my mouth a couple times, which I have to believe is all part of the game when we're talking Avenue Q. So a quick little story. In 2003, I was at a show, a little show called Wicked. In 2003, and we went into Tony night, and we were feeling real cocky. We all went out and bought new outfits, and we did our performance, which involved just running out behind a cape for 3.5 seconds. And pointing at Idina Menzel, and then we went to the party to sit back, chillax, and watch ourselves win a Tony Award. And Avenue Q famously won the Tony Award in 2003.
This is a setup, you guys. Let's get out of here. This is a setup.
It's not our fault.
It's a marvelous thing. It's a marvelous thing.
They voted with their hearts.
And that's what
That's right.
Exactly.
And everybody in town thought it was going to be Wicked because they put the screens up,
Sure.
They put these big screens up at Radio City,
Right.
announcing the winners. And as they announced Avenue Q, all the screens went up, Wicked!
Wicked, yes.
So,
The screens behind the presenters, the ones that are on stage.
yeah, those were on stage.
Yeah.
It was the La La Land of its day.
Absolutely. Well, listen, dear Wicked, pride cometh before the fall.
Wait, you were in the opening number with us then. You were on stage
Absolutely,
with us.
one night only. Come on, baby, come on.
Yeah.
That was a fun year because Hugh Jackman was hosting. We all got to do an opening number as well as our performances, which was very cool.
Yeah.
I shortly thereafter got to come see Avenue Q, and I was watching it, and I just went, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's absolutely brilliant. So let's talk a little bit. Let's just start big and talk about the Tonys. And Avenue Q's been revolutionary in so many ways, but one of the ways I think it's interesting is the road to the Tony Awards and kind of the campaign towards it. As you just said, Erin, vote your heart.
Vote your heart.
Can we talk a little bit about how that kind of came to be and how that momentum pushed through to Tony Night?
Yeah, I guess I'm the one. I was sort of Jeff Marks and I were very worried because we wanted the show to run for as long as possible, and the Tony Award. We had gotten the best reviews of the season, and the question was, did anybody remember us?
Yeah, because the show opened at an unusual time. It opened the first actual couple of weeks of eligibility.
Big River and then us.
Yeah,
We had opened off Broadway at the
summer.
Vineyard Playhouse, the Vineyard Theater in the previous season, and then we came in the summer to the Golden Theater, and then no one knew that we opened. So the show was slowly building its business, and it was getting better and better. Bill Clinton came to see it, and that provided a big boost. And I don't know. I mean, it just kept word of mouth kept going because the show people loved the show. And by the time Tony came around, we were the last on every prediction list. And we thought, this is crazy. People liked the show. Everyone kind of thought, oh, that was last season's off-Broadway, little curiosity. And so we just tried to do a campaign that kind of just reminded everyone that we were there. So we did something different. They decked the theater out in like election kind of bunting, like patriotic bunting, like it's election time. And they had ads that were like, a vote for Q is a vote for you. And
It's utterly genius.
Yeah, but I think they had to change the Tony campaign rules after that. Like, am I wrong? But I think
No,
it was
they
that
did.
year after, right?
I do remember like opening the New York Times and there being full-page ads that were decked out in this kind of presidential votes kind of thing.
that's right. And that's what the ad campaign wanted to do. And Jeff and I were like, that's not gonna, like, what does that mean? I don't even understand. We didn't realize that like awards are basically an election. And so we thought we would write a song that was all about, don't vote for the show you think will win. Don't vote. It was we created a song called "Vote Your Heart," and it was about Rod. Rod was like, I have a Rotary Club election, and what was it? I don't remember.
Should I vote for my friend, or should I vote for the cute guy, or
Right.
something like that,
Or the rich guy.
or the
Yeah.
rich guy? Yeah.
And of course, it was also an actual election year, so that helped promote the campaign aspect
That's
of
right.
it. Yeah.
And we thought that our song was very clever. It was about it was just about vote your heart. It was patriotic. It was like, and vote for the show you like the best. And that Jeff Marks had sort of done an analysis saying to me that we would win. He'd be like, if we get 25% of the directors, if we get 25%,
Let's go to the graph. Here you'll see.
and Mark Hamill, who I gotten to be friends with that year, left me a message that morning on my machine saying, like, you guys are going to win. And I came back after the Tony that night and played and heard that message. I was like, oh, Mark Hamill was right.
Brilliant. Well,
He was
always.
the best.
Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I was gonna say always trust a Jedi.
Oh,
and then I was
right.
like,
Know your audience.
but
Sorry.
then I was like, am I wrong about that? Am I about to get crucified? They're like, no, he invented Tesla.
He was a song and dance man. He did 6 dance lessons in 6 weeks that year. It closed in like really fast, but he was
Oh,
on
yeah.
Broadway that season.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, he's a hoofer.
And he did what was it called?
Harrigan Heart.
Right.
Yes.
With Harry
years
Gardner.
before that. Yeah.
Another show
one
that
of
ran
us.
for
Yeah.
5 days.
Well, I mean, the night
And he was one of the replacement casts of Amadeus. He played
That's
Mozart.
right, that's right.
Hashtag knowledge.
Anyway, I think us winning that Tony was very important for our show to get get the word out on our show. And I think we wouldn't be here 15 years later if not for that. And look at Wicked. I don't think they suffered at all.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Yeah. But tell me a little bit about the night of. Were you, even with this analysis and the Jedi predictions and things, were you kind of coming up into it? Were you kind of blown away as this happened? I know it's
Bobby?
yeah,
Bobby,
no,
Stephanie?
it was none of us imagined that we would win anything.
But
And
you won. Tony.
Getting to
The
win a Tony
first
was-
of your many stacks of awards.
Oh yeah.
That was the
He's got-
beginning of the
He's
double
got
EGOT.
egots upon egots, my friends.
Yeah. It was great. It was a crazy night. It was overwhelming. It was a little. I was nervous. I was angry. You know, you never know those feelings until you get there. And I was just absolutely overwhelmed when it was Nathan Lane was reading the announcement for best musical,
And he was shady.
and
Avenue
I
Q.
was looking at his mouth.
Do you not remember how he said it? I so remember how he was like, Avenue Q? Go back and look.
But
Oh, the shade of it all.
it was a millisecond of did he make this mouth? Or,
Yeah, I never heard him announce it. I just saw him go
Yeah.
instead of.
Yeah, it was a lip sync thing. If he closed his lips, it was Wicked. If he opened his mouth, it was Avenue Q.
Well, you guys just must have partied like crazy that night. I mean, what a joy.
Actually,
to be.
our party was sort of. I don't think anybody expected us to win, and our party ended up rolling up the floor really early, and we had to go wandering around looking for other people's Tony's parties. Swoozie Kurtz was following us around looking for the next Tony party to go to.
We're like, well, we're done with our party. Let's go, I don't know, gloat party. Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
teasing.
know.
Yeah.
I remember it being less about, oh, are we going to win or not? And more about, hey, millions of people are going to get to see our show on this telecast, because it was a hard show to describe to people.
It still
You sort of
is,
had
yeah.
to see it to understand what it was. So I thought, well, what a great opportunity we're going to have to be on this national platform showing people what we do. Like, the nomination was really important to the show because it meant that we got to be part of this Broadway community and show that we belonged there. So that, to me, I think was what, personally, was what I was going for. Like, people are going to get to see us, they're going to get to see our little show, they're going to get it. And that was what was exciting about it.
And it was the broadcast was so fortunate for us because we knew the entire crew.
Yeah.
all
right.
the cameramen, the floor managers.
They all worked on Sesame
were
Street.
all people who'd worked on Sesame Street.
Yeah, in fact,
That's some good juju in there.
well, yeah, our floor manager was Chris Kelly, who works on Saturday Night Live now. The guy who had Kate super close up for the bleeped "Fuck, It Sucks to Be Me" was John Michael John, who worked on Sesame Street, was working on Colbert, and had worked on The Late Show, and he just left that show. Amazing camera guy.
And
he
Ken Diego was in the
Ken
trailer.
Diego was in the trailer as the AD. He knew how to shoot really close, so I knew I had to keep Kate really still, but I knew that she wouldn't wind up dipping out of shot. Like, I knew I could trust John. He's like, I got you, Stephanie. So that was so special. Like, we had friends there.
Yeah. And Jason Moore had storyboarded the first part of that because everyone was nervous about framing. When you do something on screen, you're telling people where to look. So you're telling people, look at this puppeteer. Whereas on stage, your eye has freedom to go where it wants to go, and you end up saying, okay, there's a puppeteer, there's the puppet, puppeteer, puppet, puppeteer, puppet. That's the character, I get it. And so we tried. Jason said, let's start really close in on Kate Monster, and then kind of slowly come further out so you can see Stephanie.
But it was weird because when we do puppets for television, we're used to seeing a monitor to seeing how they look.
Right,
We
right.
couldn't
You can't
guarantee
see.
that we were going to get that nailed right into the camera lens. So I
all coming back
kind
to
of
me
knew
now.
where John was going to be, and he kind of helped me, but I mean, he could only do so much to help my focus. So yeah, it was like there by the grace of the
It's
TV
nice.
gods go on.
Well, let's talk about each of you and your relationships with Avenue Q. Tell us when you were there with the Q and which roles you assumed during that time. We'll start with you, Carmen.
I got a call from my agent saying, hey, you have auditioned for Avenue Q to understudy Gary Coleman. And I said,
That's just a call you never expect to get.
you know I'm 5'10" and I'm a female, correct? And I had no idea. I mean, I was out doing Lion King in Toronto when I came here, so I wasn't seeing stuff. You know, I was keeping my coin. I was going out and seeing theater. So I
Sweet per diem.
Yeah. So when I came into audition, I still didn't know what was going on. I was just like, loud as the hell, what? Like, I seriously like, and y'all was laughing, I was like, oh, okay. I really didn't know what was going on. And I was like, well, is he a puppet? What? Just clueless. Like, well, it was off-Broadway, it was a big hit. I was like, well, fine, I'll go in, and then, I got it. But like you were saying, it was so hard to explain. I was like, ooh, what?
It was very hard to explain, and it was very hard to show people what we had as far as from a script and a tape.
Yeah.
Because you would read this thing and it wouldn't seem very good or very funny on the page, and then the songs, it's nice to have people around to laugh. And when you look at the word, the lyrics are always written in uppercase. So when you see like a song with a lot of F-bombs in it on the page, it just looks very angry.
Yeah.
It looks like you're yelling. I mean, Book of Mormon was the worst, the end of Pasadena, Evil West.
And they also asked me, if I had puppetry experience, and of course, I had, Lion King, which kids, if you're in school and they tell you, a special skill, I was like, puppetry is so stupid. I'm not going to be able to use it. Nobody's going to ask me to do this. I'm not a puppeteer. And I'm still not, but I got through with the help of Lion King, then everybody at Avenue Q helping me out. But that was like, I don't have a skill. That's not my skill. That's not my
You wanted to show your beauty. You didn't want to be hidden in the void. I get it. Would you want to hide that? Come on.
You're too sick.
Carmen, you did do playing Gary Coleman and did puppetry to your work as well.
Yeah, they came to me like a year in to do the Tea Lady.
Yeah, Mrs. Thistlebot.
Okay, he said it. Yeah. It's like, okay, and so that was crazy because I had watched you guys, and then Jim was very great with me, helping me with twat and sorry. See, that's what I'm saying.
Mrs. Swat Thistle.
We never referred to her as that. Like, it's hilarious. I never thought to have that be the slang for her. We're just gonna.
I'm done.
Who's got time? Twat. Yeah. Okay.
But it was so fun and learning the just the partnership, with Rick, with Trekkie, all that stuff, and just the magic that comes with, just like ballet dancer, you see just the grace and beauty. You have no idea the hard work because it looks flawless. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was great.
And I do want to dive into that in a little bit as well, because the physical demands of the show are immense. I mean, as far as you're putting so many elements together. And Harada, of course, Christmas Eve in the original.
No puppetry skills necessary.
But I do have a question with that, and maybe you can all help me. In the world of Avenue Q, what is the reasoning behind having some characters as human and some characters as puppets?
That's a good question. It's you notice the jumping off place for Avenue Q is it started as a satire or a parody of Sesame Street. And one of the things about Sesame Street is that they have humans and puppets. Why do they have humans? The puppets are so popular, the Muppets are so popular. Why isn't it just all Muppets? Well, the human characters, not only, context is the wrong word, they give credence to the puppet characters. If the human beings believe in the puppet characters, then the audience is going to believe in the puppet characters. Gives them credibility.
On Sesame Street, a lot of the humans were these little kids, and the show was aimed at families and young kids. We thought our show was really aimed at 20-somethings, and people who were kind of babies out of college. And we created this character called Brian, who was based on our friend from the BMI workshop, Brian Yorkie, the writer of Next to Normal.
Played him in the first reading, right? He played him in the first reading.
He played him in the first reading.
That's why Brian wears shorts.
That's right.
And Goofy do shirts.
Yes.
Does Brian Yorkie wear those things?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
He wore him to the reading, and it was just such a great costume choice that you guys ran with it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And we had to let him go at some point, but he won the Pulitzer Prize, so he's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
he can't afford pants. He's just not
That's
interested in
right, he
wearing
doesn't
them
like them.
necessarily.
But you had like Brian was sort of the Bob.
Yeah, Brian was like
and
Bob.
Christmas Eve was like, you know, the Gordon
Maria,
and Susan
yeah.
and Luis and Maria,
That's right.
like were sort of giving advice to the puppet characters.
Right, and Gary Coleman was kind of like the guest star. You know, there's always Yo-Yo Ma would come on Sesame Street or something.
And Rick, how long were you involved in the production?
Well,
To this day.
yeah, I predate Avenue Q, actually.
That's right.
Bobby and Jeff were partnered in the BMI Musical Theater Workshop, and they were putting together their, I think it was, isn't it the last assignment of the first year, the 10-minute musical?
This was the second year. This was
Oh, the
our,
second year,
our
okay.
yeah.
So Jeff and Bobby were partnered, and they were working on a piece that they were calling Kermit, Prince of Denmark. And it's brilliant. It was a brilliant piece. And they had been performing the songs that they'd been writing in class, and they'd been really well received and stuff. But Jeff and Bobby went, you know, we're writing these songs for puppets. Wouldn't it be cool to have somebody perform in class with a puppet? Wouldn't that be just, you know, the icing on the cake? And so Jeff had been a music intern at Sesame Street, where he got fired. And but he got to know one of the puppet wranglers at the show, and he asked her if she knew anybody who would come in and sing a song as Kermit for them. So she contacted me. That's Laura McLean, and of course I had never heard of the BMI Musical Theater Workshop. I had no idea who Bobby and Jeff were. But one of the things that I always have sort of made a driving force in my career choices is just never say no to anything, at least without getting more information. So I said, sure, I'll meet you, and you know, maybe we can work together. And so I met them, and they played the song, and it was a brilliant song, and I performed the song in class, and it was incredibly well received. And that sort of launched them into creating a full-length piece out of that, Kermit, Prince of Denmark. We pitched it to Henson, who said no, which was a really bad idea. And so Bobby just went, well, screw you guys, why are we writing for somebody else's characters? Let's make our own thing with puppets, and that's when Avenue Q was born. So I've known Jeff and Bobby since 1997.
And Stephanie.
Well, I want to get back to Ann Harada, her involvement in the show.
Okay,
No,
that's fine.
only because I was
Yes.
talking about BMI. Ann was, when we did the first reading at the York Theater in May of 2000,
Yeah.
we didn't have a Christmas Eve. We were sort of rehearsing songs, and we didn't have a Christmas Eve, and it was looking like Bobby was going to be playing Christmas Eve for a while.
I'd see that though.
And
You're Asian, so it's fine.
We're going to talk about that too.
I have very deep memories of Bobby's Christmas Eve that I will cherish in my heart forever. So Amanda Green was our first Gary Coleman. Yes, that Amanda Green. And I believe it was Amanda who brought Ann to us.
I had gone to college with Amanda, and I feel like how the story was